What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to part 20 of our Pokemon Unbreakable Ties walkthrough. We're currently just gonna use our Corviknight taxi, which we unlocked recently, to complete one or two side quests before we continue. And if you missed part 19 of the walkthrough, I recommend you go and watch it. We got to play as Ida, and we took on the jungle arc where we made it to Bullfinch Village. We met the chief of the tribe Hakan, which turned out to be Silvano's brother, and we got a look into Silvano's past and the problems that he faced with his brother. It was a super interesting episode. But here we have flown back to Garo, the man who wanted to buy wood logs from us. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of awesome items that we can trade logs for. You can also sell them for a decent amount of money. So I definitely recommend you come back here. You can trade for some different types of Pokeballs. There's some cool TMs. And you can make a lot of money this way. So now that we've got the Corviknight taxi, we can continue chopping down trees and flying back here to sell them and trade them for some awesome money and items. Money has been pretty hard to accumulate up until this point, but now that we have got the Corviknight taxi, we can fly back instantly, and this will make things a lot easier on the money front. But I definitely recommend going back and watching episode 19. It was jam-packed. We got to experiment with some of Ida's Pokemon. We evolved some of her Pokemon. And we battled Hakan. And he had a super strong Annihilate, which is a crazy cool Pokemon. But now we can continue with our adventure. Here on Route 16, there are some awesome encounters. A lot of Ghost-type Pokemon. And I do want to say this is a special episode. This is probably one of my favorite episodes so far in the game. And one of our extras hatched. We got an Elekid, which is an awesome electric type. It can evolve into Electabuzz and then Electivire. And we've just encountered a Drifloon, which is a ghost psychic type, I believe. It is quite a cool Pokemon. I would like to catch one for sure. But unfortunately, this one used expulsion before we could catch it. But like I was saying, this is probably my favorite episode in the game so far. The story is about to get crazy, so do stay tuned. It's a really fun episode. I love that the developer created such a cool arc of the game. But as you can see, we're just battling a few trainers in the area. We're definitely going to chop as much log as we can now and stack up our money and get some of those cool TMs and hold items. But there are a few trainers in here to battle as well, so we're going to train up some of our team, get them nice and strong. You do need to get a strong team for what's to come, trust me. You want to train up your team now while you can. I do recommend you get most of your team to at least like level 55. The stronger the better, because there are some tough battles coming our way. And as you can see, we've just reached a bridge where there is a royal family grunt. And it seems he has lost his Pokemon. He has a Klefki and he wants our help. He said it's probably gotten lost in the orphanage ahead. So he asked if we can help him. I'm not sure why we're helping him, because he does look like a royal family grunt, unless he's just a guy that looks similar. But we'll help him. We'll explore the orphanage and see if we come across a Klefki. If it's not too much trouble, we'll get it back to him. And he won't let us pass further ahead until we have actually helped him get his Pokemon back. So it looks like we kind of have to in that sense. But now we're going to explore the rest of the area quickly. There is a little dam here that we can swim across. And let's see if there's any items hiding in here. We do. We pick up a spell tag. Cool hold item. And a Gimmighoul is here. So we're going to chop some wood and take on the Gimmighoul. I'm hoping we can get another strange coin from one of these guys. It seems it's really hard for Gimmighoul to drop any items. So you can see most of my team are around the level 50 mark. I do recommend you train up your entire team to at least level 55 or higher. Even level 60 is a good option, because the next big battles ahead are super tough. But that's it for this route. It looks like the only thing left to do is explore the orphanage. And this is where the crazy story begins. Okay, it seems someone has finally entered. Ooh, it's spooky. I was starting to get bored. It's time to play. This is a super creepy arc. It really is spooky. And there's a whole bunch of puzzles in this old abandoned orphanage. And it looks like another egg of ours is hatching, so that's cool. And we just got a Gen 9 starter Pokemon, Score Bunny. That's a super awesome Pokemon. And here it looks like there's some books. Whoa! Okay, something just jumped out. It looked like a bonnet. It half scared me to death. But we're going to keep exploring this orphanage. Like I said, there are a bunch of difficult puzzles to get through. And here we've just entered the first puzzle. There's a whole bunch of beds where the kids used to sleep in the orphanage, and each bed tells you a little bit of the backstory. Oh, and there's that creepy bonnet again. Just keeps jumping out and scaring you at times when you least expect it. And this is where Rudolfo actually grew up, in the orphanage. And here they want to know which bed Rudolfo slept in. So you can also see just below and above the beds, there's little numbers written on the floor. And they're going to ask us a few questions that you've got to answer just from the information that you got from the beds. And when you get it right, it will jump to a cutscene and it will show us what actually happened in the past. So here you can see baby Rudolfo. And Rudolfo was a problematic child. He never wanted to really conform and do what he was supposed to do. He was a bit of a naughty one. So as you can see here, Rudolfo was getting in trouble because this was like a very religious orphanage. So it was very strict. And you can see Rudolfo slept in the top left bed here. And it seems Rudolfo got in trouble because he didn't recite the Lord's Prayer. He said he didn't know it, but meanwhile, he really does. Rudolfo is actually super smart, but everyone in the orphanage just thinks he's a naughty, silly kid. But he's actually super intelligent. It's really cool that we get to find out a bit more about Rudolfo and get to learn about his backstory, because it's a crazy story. And here's one of Rudolfo's good friends, Shadow. And it turns out Shadow's actually got Pokemon. And in this orphanage, all Pokemon are forbidden. He actually has the ghost Pokemon Shuppet, so it is quite a mischievous Pokemon. So he's got to try and hide it from all the people that work in the orphanage. So it's cool that he has formed this bond with Shadow, and I think Shadow's gonna help them a bit down the line. And Rudolfo says he also wants a Pokemon. He wishes that he had one too. But like I said, the orphanage is very strict and they're not supposed to have any Pokemon at all. And the story just got a lot darker. Apparently the two oldest kids in the orphanage got sick last week, and neither of them made it. So there seems to be something going on where kids in this orphanage end up dying. But Rudolfo falls asleep and we return back to our character. So now that we have completed the first puzzle, we've now entered the next puzzle. Every time you complete a puzzle, you find out a little bit more about Rudolfo's backstory. And here is the classroom where all the kids used to come and learn. And again, you've got to get the little clues from each desk. And then you've got to try figure out where people sat and what the arrangement was of the students here. So it is an interesting little puzzle. You might have to come and read all of the little clues a few times. And then in order to complete this puzzle, you have to change the color of the chairs. So there's different patterns here. There's like orange, brown, red. So you have to change the seats in a certain pattern in order to complete this puzzle. So I will leave you guys to try and figure it out by yourselves. But if you do need help, come back to this video and you can check my answers if you get a bit stuck. So we are going to read all of the clues now, and then we will color code the chairs. And that bonnet keeps popping out when you least expect it. It's so creepy looking. But it looks like we have finally read all the clues. And now we can try and change some of the chair colors. I am going to reveal some of the answers to you guys now, so spoiler alert. But on the left side, the whole left row, you want to start with, from the bottom left, we're going to make it orange, and then it's going to be red, red, and orange. So that's the layout for the left side. And on the right, we're going to go brown, brown, red, red. And that's the puzzle. Congratulations, you've solved the puzzle. Seems you're pretty good at this. And now we jump back to another cutscene of Rudolfo growing up. And all the kids are learning in the school now. Alright, Shadow, start. You answer the first question. And Mother Camilla seems to be the one in charge here. And next, she asks Rudolfo a question. And Rudolfo doesn't want to answer. He didn't do his homework. So it seems like Rudolfo just keeps getting in trouble all the time. And he seems to be the biggest problem child here, but he's just a bit misunderstood. He doesn't really like all these rules and being controlled so much. Rudolfo is definitely more of a free spirit, as you can see. He's just wandering around Akibia doing his own thing now. So it must be really hard for him to stay in school and really focus. And Rudolfo just wants to travel the world and make friends and catch Pokemon. But the teacher is not having any of it. She sends Rudolfo to the office where she wants to speak with him. And a lot of the kids are terrified of the office because a lot of kids don't come back from the office apparently. So I don't know what kind of orphanage it is, but it's creepy. Kids are going missing, kids are getting sick and dying. So I really don't know what's happening in this orphanage, but it creeps me out completely. Okay, and as soon as we exit the classroom, we make it to the next puzzle. And this puzzle is kind of like a maze, but there are Shuppet floating around here. And the closer you get to them, the more they follow you. So you have to try keep your distance from them. Otherwise, they just keep chasing you. So it took me a few attempts. Like here, there's a Shuppet and it just keeps going around in that square. And if a Shuppet touches you, you have to go all the way back to the beginning. So you've got to try and time your walking perfectly to try avoid the Shuppet. And then still try to run away as fast as possible. Otherwise, it's going to keep following you until you're cornered. And I thought we were picking up an item, but it was actually a Spiritomb. And as you can see, we do have a few new Pokemon on our team. But that Shuppet caught us again, so we restarted again. You're definitely going to have to restart a couple times because some routes just lead to dead ends, and then going back is super tough. Okay, so Shuppet's following us again, and as soon as we get too close, it keeps following us. But when you make a bit of distance between you, it stops following you. Okay, so here we've made it to the door. Thank goodness. It was quite tough. But there's something that we're missing. So there are a couple sections that we haven't explored. We're going to have to go back and explore the other routes of this maze and see if there's any item for us that will help us move forward. Okay, here's another item, but it turns out it's again another Pokemon. It's a Spiritomb. I wouldn't mind catching the Spiritomb. It does have a cool special ability or some special attacks. But we just knocked it out, and let's keep exploring. There can't be too much more to explore here. But yeah, we got Trick Room, so that might be useful. We got another TM. And I think northwesterly, this is the last little route we haven't explored. Okay, here's an item. Yes, we got the ghost key. So I think that's what we needed to open the door. But now that we've got that, we can go back the way we came earlier. If we can time our way correctly. And there we have it. It looks like we've made it to the door and we've got the key. So let's find out a bit more about Rudolfo. Ooh, and here's this mysterious character. He keeps popping up and scaring us. And he said he's had so much fun with us and these puzzles. And now we jump back to a cutscene with Shadow and Rudolfo. And it looks like they are exploring some of the orphanage. And Rudolfo's friend Shadow asks why Rudolfo keeps playing dumb all the time and keeps misbehaving. Because Rudolfo, he knows all the answers. He's extremely smart. He just doesn't play along. He obviously has some kind of issue following authority or something. So Shadow's trying to figure out why Rudolfo doesn't just do what he's supposed to, and then he won't get in trouble as much. But of course, Rudolfo wants to go through this door that's actually not allowed, but it's locked. And Shadow says he'll try get his shepherd to help open the door. And it looks like that worked, so they can explore this other area of the mansion that they're actually forbidden to explore. And they've come into like some office library room. So I don't know, they might get in trouble for being in here. They're really taking a big risk. But there's a whole bunch of books here. So they're gonna look at some of the books. And they find a card or something. So they're just trying to do a bit more exploring. And Shadow says he thinks he found something important linked to the royal family. It looks like the royal family might be in charge of this orphanage. And there's a whole bunch of messed up experiments here that they've done on children's brains. So it looks like there definitely is some creepy stuff going on here. And there's some wet pages of the books. It looks like tears on the books. So someone's obviously been reading these books recently, if they're still a bit damp. And Mother Camilla comes and catches us. So that's not good. She wants to know how we got in here because everything's been locked. So she definitely knows we're up to something. And it looks like Mother Camilla told Shadow to leave. And she's not happy with us. It looks like something really bad might happen to us now. Maybe we've crossed too many lines. Mother Camilla asks what Rudolfo wants to say before he leaves, and he says he wants ice cream. So Mother Camilla says you're definitely not going to get any ice cream. And she notices that some books are out of place, so she might have a suspicion that we found out something that we weren't supposed to about the royal family and all the experiments going on here at the orphanage. But now we've made it to the next puzzle. I believe this is the final puzzle in the kitchen. And you can't see it. Some of the ghost characters of the kids all eating. And again, there's a little quiz that you have to answer. You have to get all the information from the kids here and try remember it. They do ask you about the number of berries. So it's kind of like a math quiz, this section. And as you can see, here's Rudolfo and Shadow. Well, the ghost form of them. But come and talk to everyone and give it a go yourself. I don't want to try give away too much because I want you guys to try figure it out first. Only if you get really stuck or if it gets complicated, then I recommend watching and checking my answers. Otherwise, just skip ahead of the answers if you don't want to find out before you try. But that was all the kids that we spoke to, and they want to know how many berries did Rudolfo end up eating. So we did write in the correct answer. And now we continue. We go back to the story and we find out a little bit more. Here all the kids are eating in the kitchen and Rudolfo is just pigging out, eating everything. So Rudolfo is quite a funny character. He just seems like a bit of a troublesome young boy. But Rudolfo did say he wanted ice cream, so I'm curious to see if they end up getting ice cream or not. And Rudolfo's not feeling good all of a sudden. He says he's got some stomach problems. And Shadow said yes, that seems to be a common issue in the orphanage. People have stomach problems and then they have to go into surgery. They get like stomach pain and then they go into surgery and then they end up dying. So Rudolfo is super worried now that he's been poisoned or something because his stomach's starting to hurt. And Shadow said he can't go into the surgery no matter what because he's not going to make it out of there. They're going to have to try and find some other remedy or cure if he has been poisoned. Okay, so we've made it through to the next section. And this looks like the place where they actually cook and make the food. So this is the actual kitchen. The other room was more like the cafeteria where all the kids eat. But maybe here in the kitchen they can find some kind of food or medicine to help Rudolfo. And we thought we picked up an item there, but it was just a Pokemon. We did pick up a warehouse card here. And we battled another Pokemon here, so you might want to come and challenge them and try catch them. We did try and catch this one Electro, but there were 3 here that we battled. And the Pokemon are all around level 50 now, so you have to train up your team. I am trying to train up this Drudigon. It's the latest addition to our team, the Dragon-type Pokemon. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it, but we're going to train it up regardless. And some of the food looks like it's rotten and been out for a while. And now it looks like we've entered the storage room where we've picked up an ice stone. And it seems like there's fridges here that are locked with medicines and things that shouldn't exist. And here's this Banette that's just popped out of nowhere. Keeps scaring us. So I don't know what's up with this creepy looking Banette. It's like, looks like a mega Banette almost. Because it's got like an eye patch and it just looks really spooky. But we jump back to the past and figure out what happened to Rudolfo and Shadow. So it looks like they also made it into the kitchen and then ultimately into the storage room. So Rudolfo is taking some food from the kitchen and he keeps saying his stomach hurts more and more. And they find the door, it says staff only, so they of course are going to try and make it through. And they try get Shuppet to open the door again for them. So hopefully Shuppet can. And they're wondering why it's taking so long. And they can't get it open, but Rudolfo uses the card that he took. So you obviously need a key card to enter this room. And it's really cold in here. It's like a cold storage room. So they keep all the food and stuff in here, but also all these weird medicines in the fridges. So they have it locked and there's a whole bunch of strange bottles and ibuprofen. And they find something. It looked like it might be the cure for Rudolfo. And Shadow tells Rudolfo to take it or he's going to end up in the operating room. So Rudolfo is really scared, but I think he does try it. And he burps, but he says it hurts a lot. He's really worried something's going to happen to him. And ultimately, I think he's fine. I think he just had a big burp or something, and now he's feeling a whole lot better. So in a Rudolfo fashion, he's always cracking up some jokes here. Okay, so he actually farted. He didn't burp. The medicine must have really messed around with his stomach, and he had a huge fart that just made Shadow and Shepherd burst into laughter. Okay, now they open this other locked up cabinet, and they are completely shocked at what they see inside. It looks like there's a whole bunch of brains in here from other students. And just as we find the brains, Mother Camilla jumps in, and she also sees that Shepherd's here. So now we're in huge trouble. We have entered this room that we're not supposed to be. We have found the brains, and Rudolfo's taken medicine. Luckily, she doesn't know that Rudolfo's had it already. But this is just one crazy dark orphanage, and this Mother Camilla woman is evil. We need to try and get out of here, and we've got to stop this woman. She is just completely messed up, and all of this is tied back to the royal family. So the royal family is in charge of this orphanage. So they've been the masterminds behind all of these experiments on the kids, and the kids missing and dying. So I'm not sure how Rudolfo and Shadow are going to get out of this, but maybe Shepherd can help them and battle Mother Camilla's Pokemon. But Mother Camilla's got a Dusknoir, which is really strong, and it looks like Shadow is sticking up for them and actually battling Mother Camilla. And they're running out of there. They're trying to escape as fast as they can, but Mother Camilla has given orders to detain them, and it looks like there's a whole bunch of royal family grunts also in the orphanage. So I don't know if we're gonna make it out of there completely. But now we've jumped back to our normal self, and it looks like the game has ended, and we've opened the door to this new area where we meet a strange new character. He asks how we enjoyed the puzzles and what do we think of the orphanage, and we ask who it is. Who is this guy? He looks really creepy. He's got like 2 different color eyes, and he's got a ghost looking outfit. And it turns out it's Shadow. So this is actually Rudolfo's friend. I wasn't expecting that. And now he shows us how the story kind of ended. Shadow and Rudolfo both made it out the orphanage, but then security stopped them just before they could make their way out. And Dusknoir caught both of them. So that's not good. And it looks like both of the children are in trouble, and Mother Camilla said that we're both gonna die. So this is crazy. And Shadow says this will hurt, but it's our last hope. And he gets Shepherd to attack, and Dusknoir drops us, and Shepherd uses Curse. So it's a really powerful attack. But Shadow said he'll buy them a bit of time for Rudolfo to get out. So Shadow kind of risks himself to get Rudolfo out of there, and I think sacrificing himself. So Shadow was a really good friend to Rudolfo, and Rudolfo made it out, but they knocked out Shadow. And Mother Camilla said that Shadow saved a useless kid like Rudolfo, and Shadow always had a smart brain. He was always one of the smarter kids with a bright future. And Shadow says Rudolfo is actually a smart and brave person. So it looks like Shadow might be in trouble now. It looks like they might use him for experiments and things. So this is not looking good. It's time for you to sleep forever. It looks like Shadow might be dead. But then we're wondering how Shadow is still alive here. How are we talking to him right now if he did die? But he lets us know that his Shuppet evolved. As you can see, he's got a bonnet here, like a mega bonnet. And apparently just before they killed Shadow, Bonnet used spite on Shadow, on a human, which had a weird effect, but it kind of protected him from dying. And Shadow said he killed all of them except the kids and Mother Camilla. They broke out of there. And he asked if we know about the concept of a sweet death. So it's like you inhale carbon monoxide where you die but your brain still stays alive. So he says Shadow is pretty much like his Pokemon now, where their soul is in a different body. So it looks like Shadow is still alive, but thanks to his Shuppet or Bonnet using spite on him. So a really crazy story, but I'm happy that Shadow still survived. And I hope Rudolfo can come back and be friends with Shadow again after everything they went through. And it looks like Shadow now wants to battle. So let's see what Shadow's got. He's got a full team of 6 Pokemon. And most of his team are level 50 or higher. And the first Pokemon he sends out is Runerigus. And let me tell you guys, this is a super tough battle. And unfortunately, I added a whole bunch of new Pokemon to my team that weren't fully trained up. So I was at a massive disadvantage, like half of my team are around level 40 only. So you need to have a whole team around level 50 or higher, at least level 50 or 51. So that was a big disadvantage for us. But we put up a good fight. As you can see, we sent out Lucario, and Lucario knocked out Runerigus. And we sent out our Milotic, and Shadow sent out Skeledirge, level 50. Our water attack, Surf, is super effective. We knocked out Skeledirge. But still, Shadow has so many Pokemon left on his team. And he's got that crazy Bonnet, which I'm super scared about. But we send Lucario back out, and now Shadow sends out a level 50 Rotom, which is like a ghost electric type. It has many different forms, but our attacks are just doing close to nothing. And then knock out Lucario. The only Pokemon I have left pretty much is Milotic. My Druddigon is still way too weak. It's only level 43, so I don't even think it will be able to knock out Rotom. Let's see. Okay, luckily we do. So Druddigon is not completely useless, but not strong enough for this battle. And now Shadow sends out Bonnet. So things aren't looking good for us. We're gonna have to use a potion and try heal up our Pokemon. And it Mega Evolves. So here's Mega Bonnet, and I must say this is a super cool Pokemon. I love Bonnet. I love the Mega form. I think Bonnet is such an underrated ghost type Pokemon. It just looks super cool and creepy. And Mega Bonnet knocks out our Milotic pretty easily. And our Dreepy hasn't even evolved. We just get one-shotted. So Shadow did defeat us, unfortunately. I think we could have won with a bit more training. But ultimately he beat us and we weren't able to re-battle him. So that's just how it goes. We can come and battle him a bit later on in the game, which I can't wait for, and I'll definitely be more prepared for that battle. I wasn't expecting to battle Shadow at that point, but it was a ton of fun. And Shadow said he's going to keep training, and he's going to give us a Bonnet type for our trouble, so we can also Mega Evolve Bonnet if we get one. And Shadow says that he thinks he's made a new friend. Hopefully we can come back and re-battle him again. But what a crazy story, insane story about that orphanage. Definitely a fun arc to play through. Loved all the quizzes and the puzzles, and great storyline. But now we've cut back to Ida and Rudolfo, and it looks like they are still flying on Latias and returning from the jungle. So Rudolfo says the compass is showing that they've got to land soon in Lugano City. So I think that's where we're all going to make it to next. And now it cuts to the Royal Palace, where Callio is busy chatting with Angie Stones, the other trainer that we actually lost to. She is an Elite 4 member. She's super strong, even stronger than Shadow. I think her Pokemon were like level 65 when we battled her. So that's not good. And it still seems that they want to execute Commander Vesta. So that's what they're kind of trying to plan and put into action. And Angie gets an order from the king to try and capture Edward, the man that broke out of the prison. Remember, we helped that guy escape, and we also helped him get his Pokemon back. This is Edward. And I still think Edward might be Derek's father. He hasn't revealed anything yet, but he looks too similar, and the hair color is very much alike to Derek's. And Edward comes across Derek's Grovyle. So remember, Derek got captured again, and he was really rude and nasty to Grovyle in order to get Grovyle to leave him, because he wanted to try and keep Grovyle safe. But it looks like Grovyle has let Edward know that Derek's in trouble, so hopefully Edward can try and help him now. And Edward should have his Pokemon back now, so I'm curious to see what Pokemon he has. He might have some super strong Pokemon, who knows. But now we jump to Zervan. Remember the psychic gym leader that we defeated? And he says there's a lot of danger coming our way. So that's a bit creepy. It looks like everything's coming to the point where Commander Vesta might be in trouble. And here we're back in our character, and we picked up a Litten. So that might be the Pokemon that the man in black outside was missing. I thought it was a Klefki, but it could be Litten. But this arc has been crazy scary, but a lot of fun. But we're going to end things off here. Thanks for watching.